Hi everyone, it's Clyde at Vibrant Soap, and I couldn't wait to do this Jackson Pollock soap because it was kind of fun to just splatter paint all over the soap canvas. So I'm going to show you that today. And it's also a lesson in spontaneity too, because in many ways Jackson Pollock and other abstract artists were really misunderstood because people thought, oh, there's no plan to this or anything, just because it looks like they're just splattering paint on the canvas. But actually, when you look at the paintings a lot closer, there's some movement that was planned there that the artist had some understanding of. So I'm going to try to talk to you about that in the color tutorial today. I want to maximize the colors that I use there because, number one, we have to work really quickly when we make soap. So you want every color to make a difference in the overall design. So knowing about what white can do to brighten up a soap, to contrasting colors that will add maximum contrast to the soap, well, try to use all that. I didn't use all the colors of the rainbow. I think I left out purple. So I want to show you how I selected a fewer amount of colors than I wanted to, but being realistic about the soap, to maximize the brightness and variety of colors in this particular soap. So let's get on with the color tutorial and then on with the soap making. So I've just added a little bit of gold acrylic to my palette because I'm thinking that I want to add some shimmer to at least the yellow and the orange. And I looked at a lot of Jackson Pollock paintings before starting the design of this soap, and I realized that my mind's eye was saying that he used like every single color on his paintings, and that's not true. He actually knew there's a lot going on with all the drips, so he limited his palette often to make some kind of sense on the palette as far as giving it the depth that he wanted and all. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm not going to use any purple. If he did use a lot more colors than you would think, he had them tucked behind a lot of the drips, so it did add some depth to it there, but there was only like a few colors that really took the show in many of his paintings. So the first thing that I had to do was limit the amount of color that I would add to the actual soap base. And I really did that because I knew I wanted to keep the soap fluid, and if I did 6 colors with the soap mixed in with it, it would get too globby, and I didn't want that because I'm going to have to do these fine little drips. So I decided what I want to do is use some blue and some orange and some little gold into the orange to make it shimmer a little bit more, and then some white. White is really important in this type of painting because if you want to keep things bright, even if a lot of the soap is the soap base of white is covered over, in a painting that white background helps the colors on top of it to glow. So really want this to be a bright soap and not so saturated with color that it has no brightness to it. I want the brightness of the white to showcase the colors. So that's all I'm going to be doing for the soap base as it is. The rest of it's going to be with Mica Drizzles. Now, let me show you this picture of this Jackson Pollock soap that I did long time ago. It's like before I started to make videos, and you'll notice that it was all done with mixtures of soap, and I did pretty good. This is when I was trying to experiment and get a liquid soap that wouldn't solidify right away so I could do interesting things with it. But since that time, I've learned how to do Mica Drizzles, and that's really going to help this soap. So that's not only orange and blue, then I'm also going to drizzle on top, but I also can use little drips of red in terms of a mica drizzle. So I'm going to use little dots to represent what I want to use a mica drizzle for. The thing with mica, and what I do is I mix maybe a half a teaspoon of mica with about maybe a teaspoon of oil. That's kind of guesswork on my part to get a nice consistency. And the thing about oil, as it saponifies, it's very thirsty. The lye mixed with the oil just wants to absorb a lot of oil. And so the oil in the mica drizzles get pulled into the curing soap. So you're not going to have like a liquid or oily drizzle on top by the time you, by the next day actually. So let's see, I also want this a bright yellow. I'm going to be very careful with this soap to think about the order that I drip the drizzles on, or to put any of the color on. The reason for that is Pollock was very careful about that too. What colors are going to be in front of the others so that there's a backdrop, an intentional backdrop to the soap. I can't really picture green in my version of this. I really want more of a turquoise, which is basically a blue and green. Probably something like this. That's going to be a drizzle also. I think that's it. Got my blue, orange as the base and the soap itself, which will also be used as a splatter. And oh yeah, I want to use black for sure. Now take a look at this combination of colors before I put the black in. The black really helps to add a necessary contrast. It really makes the other soap colors pop. So a lot going on there. Alright, there's another way to talk about this also as far as colors is concerned. With the white and the black, I've got the biggest contrast we can hope for already going for us. The white being such a light color, it'll set off the other colors, and the black being what we say void of color, but being very dark. Then I've got these two related blues, and I've got the orange and blue that's opposites. So, and I'm using all this information that I know about color to make this soap really bright. So let's get on with the soap making. We'll see what happens with that. Alright, I have my kaolin clay, my oils, and my sodium lactate in here. Just going to blend that before I add the lye solution. Okay, let's add the lye solution now. And I'm soaping at about 95 degrees. Stir that up a little bit first, which means I don't have to blend it as long to make sure everything is incorporated. So I want things to be pretty liquid for this Jackson Pollock soap. Okay, that looks all mixed up. So let's pour so that you can see. Let's pour some into the orange. And this nice blue. So already I have complementary colors going. This is going to be white, And there's a reason why I picked these. I wanted a warm color, the orange, a cool color, the blue, and something really light, because Jackson Pollock had a lot of depth in his paintings. So I actually want that white to serve as a illuminator from the back of the soap. It'll make the colors pop a bit more. Just looked at this, I think I want more the color. So many times, even if the white doesn't show up at all, in paintings at least, we try to keep things light in the back if we want it to make the colors glow a bit more. So let's see here. Let's add the fragrance. Let me actually add my titanium dioxide. This. And the fragrance, most of it goes in there. Some goes in there. Give all of that a nice blend, starting with the white. And then the orange. And I rinse my blender. And that's a great blue. Okay, so I want to maximize the amount of colors that I have splashed on the top. And that's why I split up mixing colors with my batter and also having some mica drizzles. And I thought about what colors would work best at both of those things. I actually thought of this right now. I do want to reserve some just white to splatter with. Just a little. And just in case I forget, I do that sometimes. Let's get this poured. Okay, so let me add almost all this white. This is a beautiful fragrance of lavender martini from Nature's Garden. Those people that don't like lavender have smelled this and not really detected much lavender, but it just has just a nice wholesome scent. Almost hard to detect that it's any bit floral at all. Okay, so the reason for doing this is to get some of my other soap colors involved with the body of the soap, so that once you wear down the top, you still have some colors in there. So I'm just going to do basically a drop pour. And I'm going to reserve some of this for some splattering on the top. And the same thing for the orange. Again, keeping some to splatter on the top. And the rest I'm going to do a chopstick swirl to get some nice color in there. This is already setting up the base of the soap with some splash-like designs. They're more like swirls, but a lot of Jackson Pollock's paintings had swirl-like looks inside the depths of the painting, and then you had the splatter. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and do some splattering. It's okay if I have some lines of color also, because his paintings had that as well. I'm making sure that even the bars on the edge will have this color. It's already looking like our Jackson Pollock painting. But I wanted more colors involved, so this is still just the base of the whole design. Let's get some of the white in here. This is going to be a little bit too much white, so I'm going to get all this in here so all the remaining color will go on top of the white. And again, the white will allow the other colors to really shine. Okay, that's about all the white. Can't wait to get to my Mica Drizzle. Some more blue. So that's all my blue. The orange in there. And Jackson Pollock, if you study his paintings or how he worked, he had a lot of depth and a lot of movement in his paintings, because underneath all the drips, or through all the drips, or a combination of all the drips, you could see movements of color. So for that reason, I'm going to use this orange to add some drips in a sort of linear design. As you see this, there's more concentration of orange in a line there. Well, he did things like that. But I also want to get some orange throughout the top for the bars. And I'm making more of a mess than I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so now I have some black, and black is going to serve as accent. So dribble that in there. And the oils that I mixed this activated charcoal with will be absorbed into the soap. There's a texture going on here too that I'm not sure I really want, so let me tap this down. I'm going to use some of this black as lines, so I'm going to do that. think I want the turquoise next. Some red. So soap that is saponifying is really thirsty for oil as the lye combines with the oil to become soap. So what happens is the oils in the Mica Drizzle get pulled into the soap a bit more, so you sometimes end up with these little craters of color that I think adds some nice interesting texture to the soap, but it also helps affix the mica to the soap to some degree. Okay, I'm really liking how that looks. And then last, some yellow. Kept the yellow for last because it's one of the brightest colors, and I really do want this soap to glow and not be dark. So I didn't put the black or the blue on the top. I think every bar has all the colors. I'm kind of aiming for where I don't see any yellow right now. Okay. That's looking good. Lastly, I'm going to put the dividers in here. Actually, I'm going to take a photo first. Okay, let's push the dividers in now. All right. Pretty happy with that. Give that a spray of alcohol. And tomorrow we will unmold this. Of course, I'll show that to you. Okay, so let's first get this out of the wood mold. Okay, let's get this out of the silicone liner. I can turn this over. This is fragranced with Nature's Garden Lavender Martini, and I've used this before. I really like it. It has its own scent, just a smidge of a lavender scent to it, and they filled that out with musk and some other things. I made my lavender gem soap with the same fragrance, and people really like it. I like it too. So I remember mixing this yellow with a little bit of gold mica, so it really does have an iridescence to it. Really like that. What's really amazing to me is that when you're mixing your soap with your titanium dioxide and you only get sort of off-white ivory color, that by the time the soap cures, it's really a bright white. So I'm really glad about that. And this is also a mixture of soap with mica in it, so it has more of a matte look to it, and then the Mica Drizzle on top of that, so it gives it a little bit more depth. I had to leave town, so this soap was curing for a couple days, so they're nice and firm. This particular recipe didn't have my usual milks in it, and I think I've identified that as the reason why they don't slip out of the mold as much, and that's because the sugars in the milk cause the soap to heat up a bit more, so it gels, and when soap heats up it sweats a bit, and that's what helps it to slip right out of the mold. So I'm going to keep an eye on that and see if that theory is really the reason why, but they're still coming out fairly easy. You just have to be a little more patient. Well, it's about time that I take these dividers out. That would help. I really like the sides, how the color gets dragged down too. So as these soaps are used, there is color within the bar as well. So it's not just on the surface. It's really like a glass-like surface when it's in these dividers. I have my ring light to give me some light here, which is really directional. Usually the window light gives more of a saturation of light, so there's more shadow. So I'll make sure that I photograph these well for you. I've showed this to you before, but I'll just show you a little bit of my cleaning up process again. I don't know if you can see where the vegetable peeler took and beveled this corner out, but it's really slick too. It really matches the slickness of where the soap was held by the plastic dividers. I got a comment from a viewer who said that this is the most calming part of soap making, and I really agree. There's no rush, there's no worry about measuring, it's just enjoying your soap and getting all these little curls of soap that you've carved off the soap. Different look. Compare the two soap, one that is beveled and one that is not. They're both nice. I just prefer the beveled. Okay, that's how I do it. And I've got to do it to the rest of the bars. And I want to thank you for watching. Hope you are enjoying this artist series of soaps inspired by artists that I really like. I've got a lot of nice suggestions from people, and some of them are in the works and some of them I'm really perplexed by. That chiaro oscuro of blending colors like the Renaissance artists are that's a very challenging thing to do. So that, and to get people likenesses in this. I can do that with oil paint, but with oil paint I have a lot of time to do that blending. So not sure if I can do that one, but keep the ideas coming. And when I sleep on an idea, I can sometimes figure something out. And thanks for the subscriptions and comments and all that you do. The thumbs up is really helpful to my channel also. So we'll see you next time, and here's a look at the soaps all cleaned up. Bye now.